roll down.
And this is not a spring chicken. Today we're going to be talking about...
Actually, the ridiculous Republicans pledge to America, which they totally refused to sign.
Well, wait a minute. Why are you calling it ridiculous?
Okay, the original thing that Newt Gingrich's Republicans designed 16 years ago, the entire Republican Party signed it. They cannot find anybody that will sign this thing.
So why did they even bother bringing it out?
Because they wanted a talking point which basically backfired, you know, a new governing agenda built on the priorities of our nation, the principles we stand for, and America's founding values.
See, part of it is, as many of you know, it is fall 2010. But it also means it's time for elections, which is the first week in November. Although I guess some people are already voting, right?
Yeah.
Is when you're supposed to be voting. And see, part of it is they're expecting some changes to be happening in Congress regarding the distribution of Republicans versus Democrats, or Democrats versus Republicans.
And it's not really the Congress or the Senate. Really interrupted by that phone that's always in here. We keep trying to turn off that it is not the House and Senate that's important in this election, because Obama's already promised he'll veto anything the Republicans send up, because this man does not believe in bipartisanship. It is the local government that counts. Why?
Why?
They're reapportioning the districts.
Oh, that's right, because remember they just did that census?
Yeah. They said it is likely that in a lot of states that have Republicans that the Democrats don't like, they're going to have governors that are Democrats.
Oh, really?
And they're going to be in charge. They're going to reapportion people like Michelle Malkin and other people that are anti-Republican, anti-Obama things in the House. They're going to reapportion them out of their districts.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if you're going, how can that happen? Tell them why.
Yeah, because the Constitution dictates that every 10 years a census be taken, and say you have a population change, and they change. You can only have 435 members of the House of Representatives representing the entire country. California, for instance, their reapportionment is that for the first time that anybody can remember in modern times, California is not going to add anybody.
Oh.
Nevada is going to add, and Nevada will add as Nevada's losing. But Minnesota, which Michelle Malkin, and they think is going to lose one to two House seats.
Oh.
And because what they're going to do, remember that if the Democrats are in charge, they'll do the same thing Republicans do. They rejigger the districts to remove people that they don't like out of a district.
And if you're wondering how that can happen, right?
Because this is a Republican president responsible for this, folks. It used to have to be done by the Congress of the United States. What happened was they were spending so much time under Herbert Hoover that they thought were just wasting government time. They got a bill passed that said basically have an organization that redesigns how many House seats people are supposed to have now. The government no longer does it. They put it off into a separate business that decides, well, you know, you've got X amount of people, you need to have, you need an extra representative. If you've lost people, you're going to lose 2 representatives.
Right.
Texas is going to get 2 representatives.
Well, in the Senate.
Florida's getting the Senate, I'm sorry.
Oh, really? Florida?
Yeah.
Texas? Okay. And then if you're in the Senate, of course, you're fixed and you get 2 representatives.
Yeah, but
so that doesn't change.
basically you only get 2 senators, and basically there is no reapportionment of Senate districts. There is a reapportionment of House districts, which is mean like, for instance, if they don't like you, they can move. What they do is if they don't like you, they can simply
change the district. Change
the district boundaries and put you in somebody else's district all of a sudden. I mean, it used to be so bad that, okay, in one southern area, like I think for 100 miles long, there was a district that was no wider than a house.
What?
100 miles. And that was so they could connect it up to another black area in the state. They connected 2 black areas so they could have a black congressman represent that district. And it's done the same thing. The Republicans will simply, they'll gerrymander districts that somebody, they're in a heavy Democratic state, but they have a Republican governor, and the governor basically is in charge of the redistribution and all that stuff. And he directs the House. This is how it's going to be, and then the lines are drawn. Republican governors have basically, in a Democratic state, have had to jury a thing, so it's like a great big question mark to get back, so they could put Republicans in an area. But this is, you have to look at congressional districts. I mean, you'll see a guy, you know, like like they were talking about, one person's been in the House of Representatives 14 years. Both sides like him. But the problem is,
The governor doesn't.
the governor, the new governor that's coming in doesn't like him. And they're, you know, so they know he intends to, but two districts together, two old districts together to make a new district, and he's going to remove a 14-term representative that both sides, both political parties like, because he just doesn't like the person. Isn't that something? To join two, I mean, basically one part of the state here, another part of the state there, and he's just going to join two. Basically, he gets to reapportion 4 districts by doing that. He takes the one guy out, puts him by doing like this on the wrong side of the district line, and forces him to have to run against a Republican to stay in office. And in Minnesota, they're going to reapportion Michelle. What's going to happen is the governor of the state decided he wants to be president. That's Tim Pawlenty. And so instead of doing his job and fixing and going to courts to overturn the Franklin thing, he basically let it happen, which basically means he doesn't have a chance in hell of getting a Republican nomination, because you have they all know now that exactly what the other guy said, that Coleman said, they cheated. I mean, we're talking, they had like 14,000 convicted convicts in prison voting for Franken.
Well, Coleman said he did, but they still gave it to the other guy.
Because the Republican governor wouldn't do what he had to do, which is to file a complaint with the Supreme Court. His attorney general was a Democrat, but the Democrat has to do what the governor says. That's what the attorney general.
That's what they're supposed to do.
What happens if the attorney general doesn't like what the thing is? They turn it over to the assistant attorney general, and then the assistant attorney. That way, he doesn't get his hands wrapped around in it. But the governor, attorney general, who let Franklin have his job, is going to be the next governor of Minnesota, which is a Republican state. And they said he doesn't like Michelle Malkin, so he's going to connect Minneapolis, St. Paul, and another city together in order to move her out of her district.
I didn't know she was Michelle Malkin.
Yeah, which they said, they love this. They said it is the most. The district is voted Republican heavily. The areas that he's joining have voted heavy Republican since Nixon.
Right.
So he's going to turn it into a Democratic district. He's basically wiping out 4 districts to create 3 new districts that removes Malkin. But then they said in retaliation, Malcolm also has a home in another district, where it's a vacation home. So he's just going to move into the vacation home and running against the most liked and respected member of the Minnesota Democratic Party. And you know, they're already blaming that on the governor of the state. You're going to axe out a guy that's a legend in our state because you're pissed off at Michelle Malkin. This is what reapportionment does, and this is why.
That's politics.
This is why anything that the Democrats or Republicans are saying on television is irrelevant, because the Republicans aren't going to get anything done, because Obama has pledged to veto any of it for the next 2 years until the people of our nation come to their senses.
Unless he's no longer in office and gets voted
Well,
out.
they are working on the process right now of having him declared mentally unfit to serve. It's not Republicans, folks. These are Democratic head shrinks that are saying that he is mentally unfit to serve.
Yeah, I don't think that nicotine's helping him much.
Which basically, I know. But we've got, you know, here's something that America is more than a country. America is an idea that free people can govern themselves. The government powers are derived from the consent of the governed, that each of us is endowed by the Creator with an unalienable right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Anybody remember
It sounds very familiar.
the Declaration of Independence by Thomas Jefferson, one of the ultimate
Yeah, but
progressives?
see, here's part of it. This is the Pledge to America by the Republican Party, right?
Yeah.
So, if it really is a pledge to America, why in the world aren't they signing it?
Yeah, but because they won't. But here's something too, like unchecked executive, a compliant legislature, and an overreaching judiciary have combined to thwart the will of the people and overturn their votes and their values, striking down long-standing laws and institutions according to the deepest beliefs of the American people. What happened is,
That sounds like what's going on right now.
you cannot overturn a constitutional amendment. A judge does not have the right to overturn a constitutional amendment. And yet we have judges in states that are overturning constitutional amendments now. They said, well, you do not have the right to say that. Well, yeah, it's a constitutional amendment, you do. And even, okay, the problem is at the moment, the left-wing judges are so terrified of the Republicans coming in that they're overturning of constitutional amendments at the moment for further hearing. Because they know if it goes, okay.
Like they're not going to vote on it right now.
They're not going to vote on it right now, so. But an arrogant and out-of-touch government, a self-appointed elite makes decisions, issues mandates, and enacts laws without accepting or requesting the input of many.
Actually, that's what they've been doing.
You see, basically, rising jealousy, crushing debt, and a polarizing political environment are facing the bonds among our people and blurring our sense of national. See, some of this stuff is actually, I really hate to tell you this, but it is all written in the constitutions, written in amendments. It's all there. All they did was cull pieces. This manifesto is just pieces that are already written.
That's why some of the vocabulary sounds rather familiar.
And they ignore it.
Because how many people really talk like that on a daily basis?
Basically, this is the part that really sucks. I mean, with this document, we pledge to dedicate ourselves to the task of reconnecting our highest aspirations and permanent truths of our founding. By keeping faith with the values our nation was founded on, the principles we stand for, and the proprieties of the people, this is our pledge to America. But they won't sign the damn thing. They won't sign it.
There's got to be something in there that...
Because we've done, the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, like they boldly signed things. I mean, these people put their lives on the line.
They really did. And yeah, did you see how big those signatures were?
Yeah, they wanted the world to know that they believe what they stood for.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
We have 41 members of the Senate. We have 170 members of the House of Representatives. You cannot find one person that will put their name on this. One. Because they don't want to be connected to it. And the people that are running for the first-time people saying this is a bunch of BS. Said they first of all wouldn't have done this if they weren't going to sign it. I mean, like, we're the young guns of the Republican Party to sign this. Young guns, $500 hair suits, $1,000 shoes. You know, they went to Gucci to buy clothes to look like they're with the, we're talking, what is it? Basically, they turn around and you can see the Christian Aguilera pants design on the back. $500 jeans, and basically, you go over and buy a shirt that basically cost, freshly pressed and tied, tucked and pointed for $500–600, and looked like it. But some of them did go to Walmart though, and I think they were offended when they found it. You mean common people actually shop?
Oh, that sounds so bad.
They don't go into these stores. They listen to the people. I do listen to people on the left. They said the Republicans are no different than the Democrats. They do not know. I mean, we went to town hall meetings where the guy, instead of dressing like the people in the meeting, has got on a three-piece business suit.
Yeah, I don't know where the...
I mean, that's really connecting with this.
It's almost like old style, right? Where they all thought they had to be in the three-piece suit.
But it is basically, the Tea Party is composed of people on the right, left, and the middle. It's a conglomeration of actually what it is the people.
Oh, you know what I think it is? Is they have this idea that a politician should dress in a certain manner, right?
Yeah.
In the suit, white shirt. How often do they have colored shirts even,
That's
right? I mean, typically white shirts, right? And so that's the politician costume.
It's their armor. Basically, anybody remember Have Gun Will Travel, which is basically on the Western Channel? Paladin dressed, he was a knight without armor dressed in black to challenge all of the guys in the white suits. But the guys in Congress, right and left, there are no middle. I mean, like the Democrats, well, the Republicans have chased out the middle. There are no middle in the Democratic Party. It's just the left and the far left. But I know we pledge to uphold the promise of better America, knowing that to whom much is given, much is expected, that the blessing of our liberty. Basically, much is expected. These people, they know. You cannot get a one of them on this pledge. They don't spell out where they're going to cut anything.
We pledge to make government more transparent in its actions, careful in its stewardship, and honest in its...
First of all, let's talk about this.